And then I start with, the beginning. Where were you born and raised?
Okay. I was born in California, San Jose Hospital in 1984. I lived with my mother for a short period of time and ended up going through foster care quite a few times. I think I went through about 10 homes before I ended up with my grandma. Yeah. My grandmother was a cool woman, man. Like, she raised 10 children on her own. She taught me a lot of morals and values about life, man, that I'll never forget. And she even told me, you wait, when I'm dead and gone, you're gonna see, oh, yep, she was right. And more so than not, I've actually come to find that happening more than I like, But at the same time, it's missed, really. Yeah.
Was your grandmother like a biological grandmother, or just a person that you called grandmother?
She was someone. She wasn't biological, but she will always be my grandmother.
Right. Right. And she was raising other foster kids?
She had adopted 6 children.
Gotcha.
And had one of her own, so she raised 7, and then I came along, and then my sister, and then my sister had a kid.
Okay.
So she was very busy.
Yeah. Well, same question. Was it your biological sister?
Yes.
Okay, so growing up, how many? It was you and your sister?
Yeah, it was me and my sister.
That came from your mom?
Yes.
Gotcha. And you said earlier that you were with your mom for a little bit. Do you remember any of that?
A lot.
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
Well, my mom, she was a great woman, but she wasn't without character flaws. She was a opiate addict, and I don't blame her for any of the shit that happened, but there's a lot of good memories and there's a lot of bad ones.
Yep.
But I know that, in the long run, she loved me.
Yeah. Good.
I could honestly say that when she was a mother, she was a great mom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a really mature, amazing perspective to have. I love that.
Thank you.
Nice. And how old were you when you went into foster care?
I was 4, 3.5 actually,
Wow.
to 4. And I was in foster care for almost about a year. It wasn't until 4 years later that my sister was born.
Okay, gotcha. And then your sister, immediately they put her with her brother.
Yeah, she became a custodial guardian over me and my sister. As soon as she was born, my mom pretty much said, to take care of her.
Yeah.
She didn't really want my sister, apparently, I guess. She wasn't expecting her, and it wasn't fair to my sister because my sister's she's a great woman, has her own quirks and stuff, but yeah.
So tell me a little bit, growing up with those 10 siblings, what did you guys do for fun?
Well, those those siblings, they were all actually, they were family, my aunts and uncles and whatnot, you know. We did a lot of things. My aunt, especially my aunt Karen. I loved my aunts, Aunt Julie, Aunt Karen, and Aunt Brenda. They're all amazing women, and they all had great minds. And I learned everything from art to history to science to down to religion and morals and values from all three of them. And then my uncles, they were more the, you know, like promiscuous guys, you know. My Uncle Brian, he was always tackling me down and like tickle torturing me, you know, but he's always fun about it, how he did things. And he's the one who got me into video games and all kinds of things involving kind of technology and science. But my Aunt Karen, she would take me to, I remember it like it was yesterday, dude. She took me to the marina in California. What was it called? Monterey. The Monterey Bay Aquarium.
Yeah. I've been there by Big Sur. Yeah.
That was, man, I fell in love with the ocean and all the life that it had, man. Like, I was in awe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. My Aunt Brenda, she was more the, like, at home, like, let's watch a good movie. Or read a good book type thing.
Nice.
And she always had good movies to bring over, you know. Even the ones that I wasn't supposed to watch. But
so after that household, where'd you go?
You know, everybody over time they got older and they went to college or they went out on their own and had lives of their own. It was just down to me and my sister with my grandmother, because her husband, Edwin J. Marshall, was a good man. World War II vet. He died from a heart attack right after I turned 5. And it was about right when my grandmother got me, so it was kind of rough for her, you know. I couldn't even imagine how she held up after all that, you know, but she did. And we moved from Gilroy to Northern California. It's a small town called Middletown.
Like you and your sister and your grandma?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I didn't like it at first, you know, because it wasn't like, you know, home. It was different.
That's right. Change is tough like that.
But I did like the house too. The old house was great. She had 10 acres and it was a big house. Dude, it was such a big house, like you have no idea. But we moved to a smaller house and I was just like, what's this, you know?
Yeah, sure.
But the coolest thing about it was our hillside. We had these giant boulders. I mean, they were like freaking huge boulders on the side of our hill, and I got to leap and crawl and jump and find all kinds of critters and stuff, you know. And
big playground.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
So what age from, like, you know, how old were you when you moved there?
I was about 9,
Oh, okay.
Just turned 10.
And then how long did you stay there?
After I turned 16, I started a job immediately. I started working construction. That was like my big thing, you know. Everybody in my family was like super proud of me, you know. And after I got hired and was working for a while, my grandmother, she couldn't afford the property anymore. You know, it was getting too hard for her, and it was right about then that in 1999 that she got a house up here in Washington, and so we moved up here. I had to, you know, give my boss a good handshake and thank him for all the great, you know, lessons and whatnot with the job, because when I came up here, it wasn't long after, you know, school and whatnot that I got back into the construction.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in 1999, man. I was just fresh 16 in high school, and it was really different. I was kind of like, I wouldn't say scared, but I was more like, I was unsettled. Like, I didn't know why, you know, we had to move. Yeah, I still didn't understand it. Like, you know, this is my grandmother. She, there wasn't nothing she couldn't do, you know. But now I understand what she meant. And when she said, I always used to say, man, I can't wait till I grow up, then I could do whatever I want, you know. And she says, yeah, you just wait till you grow up, mister. You won't be saying that. I didn't believe her, man. I should have listened. But I was always I wouldn't say a troublemaker, but I was a rebellious kid. I was still good, you know. I still was, you know, for the most part, different than most kids. It was always hard for me to make friends in school. I got picked on a lot. You know, I was smaller than most of the boys. And that's just one of the things that happens, you know, in those kinds of situations. We don't have control over that thing. It's something that God and time does, you know. But
so you went to high school? Did you do any college or anything like that?
yeah, I went to high school, and so I was, like I said, I wasn't a troublemaker, but I was very rebellious, and
Which sounds to me like you were a teenager.
yeah, I started smoking a lot of pot, you know, and hanging out with all the wrong people.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that they're wrong people, because who am I to say that the people that I met out here on the street and in the real world is wrong, you know? Because I think that for the most part we have it wrong when we say they're the wrong kind of people. It's not that they're the wrong kind of people, it's just that they're making the wrong choices at that time. They're still good people.
Yeah, good people make bad choices.
All the time.
All the time.
You know? I happened to make the bad choice of bringing a knife to school. And it was one of those things where I had gotten a little decorative dagger from a friend the day before, and it was beautiful. It had a white handle with a deer in a forest area. It was really detailed artwork on this handle, and I'd forgotten that I had it in my pants. And when I woke up to go to school, like, you're gonna miss the bus, you're gonna miss the bus. And I just threw on what I had on the other day and went to school. And I ended up being expelled because of the zero tolerance policy. One of the kids in my class just kind of
Told on you.
Yeah.
What grade were you in?
I was in. Where was I? I was in 11th. Yeah, I was in 11th grade. Yeah.
Did you ever go back to high school?
I actually, when I got kicked out of school, they kicked me out of all the schools. They didn't want me. They didn't want me in any of the schools in that area. So I went to college and got my GED at the GED program they had there, and it was like 2001, right at the end of 2000, 2001, 2002, and I started every time I would go to class, like I'd be finished before most of the students, and I'd start folding my my work in the origami or paper airplanes, and the teacher just kind of was like, man, I need to talk to you. Like, you don't need to be here, do you? And I'm like, well, why do you say that? He's because I can usually tell when I see intelligence and potential, and you have both. He says, so I'm just going to go ahead and move you on through the program and have you take the test. And I scored an 87.
Nice.
Yeah. And they were pretty stoked on that. I was too. I didn't know.
Great. Well, how long have you been in Seattle and Ballard then?
So, fast forward several years after my first kid, and well, all my kids. I have 4 kids.
Tell me about it.
It's Rizelle, Natalia, I call her Tay. She likes to be called Tay Tay. And then there's Lyra and Darian. I love them more than most people would realize, and I miss them every day. I think about them all the time.
And where are they?
They're with their moms, most of them. Two of them are with the mother's family because she lost them. She lost custody, and so she needed somebody to adopt them before they were adopted by someone else. So she had someone in her family adopt them.
Gotcha.
And it was really difficult because they didn't like me at all because of my history. I was an addict on the street, so I was trash. Yeah, it's a lot of the, it's just what that perspective is. I've noticed since I've been in Seattle and most everywhere, because I went from Port Angeles and Sequim. That's where we moved to in Washington, and then I moved from there to Bremerton, and from Bremerton to Yakima, and then from Yakima back to Bremerton, and from Bremerton to Seattle. And everywhere I go and have been in the time that I've been on the street, which is off and on now for 14 years, I have had clean time and recovery time. Both sides of the fence, man, they're very, there's a lot of segregation all around, man, and I feel like, between the racism and the he said, she said, and the sexually challenged individuals in our nation that or gender challenged, it's all messed up, man, because I've lived here in Seattle for about 2.5 years now. I usually never stay in one place for longer than 3 years because I figure in 3 years, if I don't find what I'm looking for in 3 years, I usually move on because how else am I going to learn anything and see the world? If I don't find what I'm looking for here, then or my time, but being here is no longer needed. I know where I'm going to go next.
Well, it kind of begs the question: is it something specific you're looking for?
Where I belong.
Yeah, a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for Daniel?
Being accepted for who I am as a person, being loved, loving in return, living a life without persecution and ridicule and vindication over, who I am and my history or what I look like, or just being on the street is bad enough now that if you're on the street, you're automatically deemed somebody that the society doesn't want. You're not one of them, and it's just it breaks my heart, man. It's like I've been trying to get housing here now for since I've been here, since I've been on the street. Even when I was in recovery, I had lived in Oxford, and I'm responsible when I was being responsible, but I still have disabilities and handicaps, man. Like I said, I'm not a normal person. I'm not like everybody. Everybody's unique in their own way, but me, I'm just, I guess, I can't handle being around a lot of people anymore. Large crowds. As you can see, I haven't been able to stand still. I've always been ADHD, and my mind is always going like a million miles an hour, and I just think that the world would be so much better a place if there wasn't the white folk this or the black person that or the Mexican or the Chinaman. It's just it's people. We're people.
That's right.
That right there is one of the biggest drawbacks that we have as a nation, as a species on this planet. We're too focused on being separate from everybody else that we can't realize that it's not that we're separate that makes us who we are. It's what we can do together that makes us great.
Is there anything, you've been in Seattle for 2 years, is there anything you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
Yeah, man. Say good morning back. Don't be so drawn into all the crap you hear about people on the street, man. It's not all what it's cracked out to be. I'm just like anybody else. I smile, I feel, I have emotions, I have troubles just like anybody else. And when I walk by somebody in the morning and I say good morning, and you act like I'm not even there, like just ignore him, he's not there. It's cold. It's not okay. It makes me feel like I'm not a person, but when in reality, it makes you less of a person when you do that. Because I'm trying to be friendly, and you're not even acknowledging that I exist. How's anybody going to get anywhere with that?
Right on, man. I love it. Daniel, it's good to hear your voice, man. Thanks for sharing part of your story. I appreciate your time.
Thank you for listening.
Right on, man. Hang in there. Hang in there, man. I'm going to grab that mic. take this mic off. I'm gonna grab do a few